Hello Year 5, Miss Warren here. Hope you're well. The work you've been sending into our Year 5 email has been absolutely fantastic, so keep up the great work and I can't wait to see what you send in next. Before we get into this week's spelling video, I want you to go grab some equipment for me. So could you get some pens and pencils and your notepad, and you will also need an electronic device of some sort, whether that being a laptop, a phone or a tablet. So go grab that for me and I'll see you back in a minute. Welcome back. Hopefully you have all that equipment ready for this week's spelling video, and let's get into it. So before we get into this week's spelling focus, I've got a bit of a starter task. On the next slide will be a list of words. You need to figure out what all of these words have in common. Okay, so the words are going to come up on the next slide. You need to pause and figure out what all of these words have in common. Okay. What do these words have in common? Kindness, quickly, enjoyment, knitted, nodding, envious. Pause video here, it's your turn. Can you find out for me? Did you find out for me? Yes, that is absolutely right. All of those words end in a suffix. Now, what is a suffix? Yes, that is right. A suffix is a group of letters which is added to the end of a root word, which changes its meaning slightly. Unlike a prefix, which is added to the start of a root word. Well done. So the learning objective of this week's spelling video is to learn how to spell words with the suffix OUS. Now the suffix OUS has a specific role when it's added to a root word. And I wonder if you could find out what or how it changes the root word and what the meaning of OUS is. Pause video here and find out for me. Did you find out for me? Yes, that is right. So the suffix OUS means full of. So for example, famous means full of fame. So it's just basically saying how much fame that person has. But fame is a noun and famous is an adjective. We say that fame is something that someone has, so it's a thing, it's a noun. Whereas famous is an adjective, it's describing that person. So you could say that person is famous or that person has fame. Does that make sense? So when you add the OUS suffix, a noun changes to an adjective. How interesting. I wonder if you could find some words that also have the OUS suffix for me and write a list. Hopefully you've written down a list of words that have the OUS suffix. Now, the OUS suffix also has kind of specific spelling rules when you add it to the end of root words. And I wonder if you could figure out what those spelling rules are for me. So pause video here, it's your turn now to find out what the OUS spelling rules are. These are the OUS suffix rules. So if the root word ends in an E, drop it and then add OUS. However, if the root word ends in GE, you just add OUS. So remember that for this week's spellings. If the root word ends in a Y, replace it with an I and then add OUS. If the root word ends in our, it changes to OR. So it changes from OUR just to OR. And then you add OUS. If the root word doesn't have any of these above, then you just add OUS. However, Year 5, be mindful that there are always exceptions to the rules. Now we know the spelling rules, let's get into this week's spellings. Welcome back. So these are this week's spellings. Now it's my turn, I'm going to read them out for you. So we've got mountainous, glorious, adventurous, outrageous, prosperous, humorous, continuous, advantageous and mysterious. Okay, so now it's your turn to write them down. Okay, so hopefully you've done this week's spellings and I'm going to give you 3 different chili challenges to get on with. So chili 1, I want you to identify the root word in each of the spellings. So for mountainous, that's quite simple, it's just mountain. However, for glorious, it's slightly more tricky because the root word in glorious is glory, but glory isn't spelt like that. So you're going to have to pay a bit more attention and just make sure that you're being extra careful. Chili 2, I want you to define any words that you're not familiar with. Ideally, I'd like you to define all of them. Anjali 3, I want you to write either a sentence or a paragraph using this week's spellings. Now, ideally, Year 5, I'd love all of you to get on to do 3 this week because I've set up something called Padlet. Now, I'm going to explain what that is in a second.
Year 5, I've also set up a Padlet page. This is where you can follow either the QR code or the web link on the next slide and then add in your own comments with the sentences and paragraphs that you've created with this week's spellings. Padlet is a completely free website and app that you can use. You don't even need to sign up to it. The comment you will leave will be anonymous, so you can keep it anonymous if you'd like, or at the bottom of your comment you could add your name. To add your own comment, you click on the plus sign at the bottom right. That will allow you to create your own comment and share with the rest of Year 5. You can also comment on other people's sentences as well, just by clicking on the add comment section at the bottom of a post. On the left-hand side is a QR code that you will need to scan using your camera app on your phone or tablet, and on the right-hand side is the URL link that you will need to write into the web browser.
I'm feeling pretty confident with this week's spellings. I know the spelling rules, I'm feeling really confident, and I think I could do my own spelling test. So I think I could test myself and I'd get 9 out of 9. So I'm now going to do my own spelling test and I need you to check for me afterwards. Let's get into that. I'm sat at my desk now, ready to take my spelling test. No, I haven't practiced and I know I've done this before, but I'm pretty certain that I will get them all right this time. So once I have finished my spelling test, I'm going to come back and I'm going to need you to check through my work for me. So yeah, okay, I'll see you back in a little bit once I have finished my spelling test. I am back now with my spelling test complete. I am pretty confident. So what I need you to do now is just check through my spellings and then I'm going to purple pen any if I need to. Yeah, so can you check through? So pause the video here, it's your turn now to check through my spellings. Well then, Year 5, it seems like, yet again, I have not got all of my spellings correct. So that just means that I do need to make sure that I am practicing this week. So let's go through and check the spellings to see which ones I've got correct and which ones I don't. So let's start with mountainous. So mountainous, I know that my root word in mountainous is mountain. It doesn't end in E, Y, G-E or O-U-R. So I think that's okay. I've just added my O-U-S, so I can tick that off. Now the second one, glorious. Now glory is my root word, and if the root word ends in a Y, the Y is replaced with an I. So glorious should look like this. So it should look like this. Glorious, not with the Y. Okay, adventurous. So the root word in adventurous is adventure. Okay, at the end of adventure, there's an E. What was the rule about an E? Oh, you drop the E, so there should be no E in adventurous. Okay, let's rewrite it correctly. So it should be adventurous like this. Drop the E, O-U-S. So the fourth one is outrageous. Now the root word of outrageous is outrage. And it ends in a G-E. And if it ends in a G-E, I should have kept the E in it here. Oh, that's so silly. I kept the E in adventure, but not in outrageous. So it should have been spelt like this. G-E-O-U-S. So I've kept that G-E in, not like I did here. Now the fifth one is prosperous. I know what I've done. I know exactly what I've done. I've dropped the E that is meant to go here. I think because I got all confused with E's, either adding them or taking them away. I think I just kind of dropped an E randomly. That should have been here. It should have been prosperous. That's so silly of me. Prosperous. So that should be that ER here.
That wasn't even any of the rules. It was just me being forgetful and silly. The sixth one, humorous. Oh, this looks right. Humour is my root word, and I've added OUS. Oh yeah, 5, I've just realised what I've done. Have you spotted it as well? That's it. If the word ends in OUR, so if the root word ends in our, we should be removing the U and it should just be OR. So it should be spelt like this. Just with the OR, not with the U. Okay, so the seventh one, continuous. Now I know continue is our root word. Continue ends with an E and the E should be dropped. So I've done that here. Brilliant. Okay, so this one's correct. Advantageous. Advantageous. Well, I know advantage is the root word. Advantage ends in an E. Oh, but not just an E, it's a GE. So if it was a GE, I need to make sure that I'm keeping my E in here. I've done exactly the same as I did for outrageous as well. Okay, so this is what it should have been spelt like. Advantage, E-O-U-S. Okay, and now the last one. Well, apart from not dotting my I, which I'm going to do now, this looks to be correct. Mysterious. Now, mystery is my root word. Mystery ends in a Y. You're meant to replace your Y with an I, which I didn't do for glorious, and add OUS. This is right. Brilliant. Now it's your turn to just double check that you've checked through my spelling test correctly.
Oh yeah, 5, I've done it again. I was too confident thinking I knew all the spellings and I didn't. So that is just why it's super important to practice your spellings and be resilient. Yes, if we get things wrong sometimes, but it's going back through, picking ourselves back up and moving on to the next step. Okay, so now let's get on to this week's activities that we can do to practice our spellings. So the first one is that I want you to either create a word search or you can use a word search that I've created for you.
This is a word search that I've created. You can use this one, or you can use a word search generator by going into an app store or looking online as well.
The next activity is rainbow writing. So this is where we use a different colour or as many colours as we can in the spellings this week. So I'm going to demonstrate with the word mountainous.
So I'm sat back at my desk now with my paper and my colouring pens ready to do my rainbow writing for the word mountainous. Okay, let's go.
Your final activity is to put the letters in your spellings in alphabetical order. So I'm going to demonstrate with the word glorious. So I'm going to put those in alphabetical order. Now I've put the letters in alphabetical order, I'm going to leave it for a bit and come back to it and see if I can remember how to spell glorious. So I've now removed glorious from my board. I'm now going to try and spell it correctly next to it. Now I can check to see if I got that correct. I did. I spelled that all correct. So that's brilliant. So now it's your turn to get on with scrambling your letters up, so you can either do it in alphabetical order or just in a random order, and then leave it for a bit and then see if you can spell them. Okay, it's your turn now. Let's get on. So that is everything for this week's video. So you have learnt how to spell words with the suffix OUS. Now on to the Spelling Stud Champions, in which you can kind of see here. So for 5E it is Esme W, for 5P it is Kyra B, for 5T it is Ruby C, and for 5W it is Samson F. And congratulations to Samson, who is again at the top of year 5, so well done Samson. And now on to the classes. So in 4th place is 5T, in 3rd place is 5E, in 2nd place is 5P, and first place it is 5W. So well done everyone, keep up the great work. Don't forget to follow along with all of the other YouTube videos this week as well. Stay safe, see you soon. Bye!